Chair now recognizes Mr. Garcia from California.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to first begin by thanking all of our witnesses for being here and for your testimony, obviously for all the comments that we've heard here from both sides of the aisle in the committee. I do think that it's ironic that we're holding a hearing on restoring the trust in the FDA while we're ignoring the single biggest threat to public health today, which is, of course, Donald Trump's health secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Now, together with Elon Musk, RFK Jr. is actively undermining the institutions that protect public health and the safety of all Americans. Now, we know that RFK Jr. already has a history of outrageous medical opinions and a dangerous anti-vax record. Now, let's just look at the measles alone. Before the measles vaccine, we know that measles would kill 400 to 500 American children annually. Now, after, of course, that vaccine was released, that number fell to almost nothing. But now, with RFK's anti-vax movement growing and his dysfunction at HHS, we've seen over 600 confirmed measles cases across 22 jurisdictions, and that, of course, is not a coincidence. We also know that this is also just the beginning. This committee is not serious about actually taking on the public health threat of measles, which, by the way, our measles cases today is 50 times higher than we have trans athletes in college sports, yet they obsess about that every single day. The committee is obsessed with things that don't matter, but not the public health of actual Americans and children. But by the way, children are now actually dying. And we know that, of course, that's just the beginning. RFK Jr. has said that 5G and Wi-Fi can cause brain damage, ADHD, radiation sickness. He's said that pesticides are actually turning people transgender. He's even questioned whether HIV causes AIDS. He's made comments, of course, that alkyl nitrite, better known as poppers the sum, is the actual cause of AIDS. He said during a campaign event that 100% of the people who died, the first 1,000 who had AIDS, were people who were addicted to poppers. In his 2021 book and 2023 interview with the New York Times and New York Magazine, he repeated claims that question the causes of AIDS despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. In my opinion, RFK Jr. has been and will always be a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist. He should be anywhere near HHS, medical opinion, and our research in this country. Now, Dr. Kessler, I hate to have to even ask you this, but is there any serious medical evidence that HIV does not cause AIDS?
No.
Thank you. And that's exactly why these cuts by DOGE and RFK Jr. to HIV research, treatment, prevention are so dangerous. Public health experts warn that these actions will set us back decades. Now, despite Donald Trump's 2019 State of the Union promise to end the HIV epidemic, we've seen over $800 million in HIV research actually cut. HHS, the Office of Infectious Disease and HIV Policy has been shuttered. CDC surveillance efforts have been gutted. PEPFAR, the Global Fund, all, of course, life-saving initiatives are being dismantled. Now, Dr. Kessler, you led the effort to fast-track approval for life-saving AIDS programs. Can you just briefly, in a sentence or two, explain how DOGE is going after the work?
I also chaired the board of the Elizabeth Glaser Pediatric AIDS Foundation. With President Bush, the son, right, that was, the goal was to stop mother-to-child transmission throughout the world of HIV. It was the moral conscience of this nation, right? Global health relies on America, and that has been drastically cut.
That's absolutely right, sir. And we also know that RFK Jr., while this is happening globally and here back home, he's fired 10,000 people from his agency and then claimed that 2,000 of those was actually a mistake. So firing people, claiming they're a mistake, gutting the agency, taking away support from life-saving programs, spreading anti-vaccine conspiracy theories, that's what RFK Jr. right now is all about. And these aren't just mistakes, these are life or death decisions. Critical staff have been lost. Experts overseeing medicines, food safety, and medical devices, as we know, have been shut or let go, and we're incredibly concerned. I want to read this quote by former FDA Commissioner Robert Califf. Quote, "The FDA, as we've known, is finished. With most of the leaders, institutional knowledge, and a deep understanding of product development and safety no longer being employed, It is totally unacceptable that Congress is doing nothing to prevent, of course, this absolute destruction of our public health infrastructure. We need to stop this now. And with that, I yield back.
Gentlemen, yield back. I just have to comment, Mr. Garcia, in all good faith. The predecessor for the ranking member, Mr. Raskin, said that those of us who wondered if COVID came from the lab at Wuhan, we were conspiracy theorists. And when we started suggesting that maybe former President Biden was in mental decline, that we were conspiracy theorists. And now, there's just books coming out by all these Democrat journalists every day saying what we had wondered too. I'm not defending or trashing what you said about Robert F. Kennedy. It's just that conspiracy theories are in the eyes of the beholder. So,
Sir, do you think that children should be getting the measles vaccine?
That
That
children,
children should be receiving the measles vaccine?
all my children are vaccinated.
And do you think that we should be getting vaccinated for COVID?
Well, I think there's a lot of questions about COVID that we need answered. But measles, yes.
And
I recognize this.
And again, our current HHS secretary is a anti-vax conspiracy theorist, and that is a fact. He caused a measles outbreak in another country that caused the death. Absolutely, that caused.
No, he did not.
He absolutely did.
That's a lie.
That is a proven
RFK did not cause a measles outbreak.
Miss Greene,
you sound
Miss
ignorant.
Greene, you are an
That's
anti-vax.
ignorant,
You are
and that's
an
a lie.
anti-vax conspiracy
no, I'm
theorist
for
yourself.
choice. I'm
You're
for
the
parents
number one
and people
anti-vax
choosing.
conspiracy theorist.
That was my fault.
Mr. Chairman, am I
Vaccines kill
recognized? Am I recognized? Mr.
Our
Chairman?
witnesses were snoozing, so I had to spice it up a little bit.
Wake up.